It's Atlanta's #1 hip-hop station, Hot 107.9 and home for the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Of course, you know it's your boy B-High, radio shouting, stepping in the building. I got an author, filmmaker, lecturer, and all of that good stuff. Tariq Nasheed, what's good with it, boss?
Yeah. Back at B-High Show. What's up, man?
I mean, I'm feeling good, feeling great, but I mean, Tariq, you done shook up the world again, man.
Hidden
Colors 4, I mean, talk to me about it. What has been the reception to it?
Man. Hidden Colors 4, that one was the one right there. That one just really touched the nerve with a lot of people. That one is more critically acclaimed than all the other ones.
Yeah.
It's still the #1 documentary, not black documentary. That's the #1 documentary in the world. You go to Amazon, it's beating out all of the major produced documentaries. So that one is really touching the nerve with a lot of people, man. And you and I spoke off the air. You mentioned that a lot of us are more woke.
Exactly.
We're waking up, and that's a good thing, man. There's an awakening going on with us now, man. And now a lot of people are getting it.
How do you feel being one of the people that ushered that in, though? Because I would like to say I went to a historically black HBCU college, okay? We got a lot of this information from John Henry Clark himself at the Woodruff Library. He left the library there for us.
Yes.
So I was familiar with it, but it still wasn't as in-depth as the documentaries were. How do you feel being able to enlighten a lot of people that weren't privileged to get that kind of education, and now they can bring it into their own homes and get it?
Yeah, man, I wish I could take the credit. I take the credit for being the quarterback.
Okay.
Because that information, man, you hit it right on the money. People like John Henry Clark was my idol. People like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing was my idol.
Yeah.
So the information was there, but this new generation didn't know about it.
That's right.
So what I wanted to do, I wanted to go back and get all of those great scholars and bring them to the new generation and then make the film something that's digestible to this new crowd, because we got to understand we live in the Twitter, Instagram age.
True.
So everything is fast.
Exactly.
And we got like a real quick attention deficit type of thing.
True enough.
So when you look at Hidden Colors, everything is coming at you real fast, man. It's nonstop. And by the time the movie is over, you just watch 2.5 hours of history and you don't even realize it. So I was just a quarterback, man, and the vessel of the ancestors came through me.
That's cold. Now, I mean, when I talk about Black Power, when you say that you got the #1 documentary, period,
yes,
that is an example of that. I mean, how do you feel knowing that your people are supporting you and others are supporting you also?
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, man, because that was the whole goal in the first place. And also, man, for us to do it independently. I'm talking about 100% independently. And I wanted to show us, black folks, that we can do things on our own without going to the dominant society begging and scratching. We got the resources, man. When it comes to turning up and partying, we make the strip clubs rich.
Hey.
We make the hair weave store rich.
Come on.
We make the Asian fried chicken store rich.
Every
we make
day.
the Arab gas station rich.
Every day.
But when it comes to us, all of a sudden, it's like we want the hookup. No, let's do business.
But how do you feel with black people wanting to do business with you? Because a lot of times we do create products for consumers and people do not want to purchase from their own people. But in this case right here, I mean, it's flying off the shelf.
Absolutely, because in the films, we preach economic empowerment. We make a point to talk about the importance of economic empowerment. That's why I got brothers like George Frazier.
That's right.
I got brothers like Claude Anderson. This brother, a beast with the economic information, man. So it was very important to push that message of empowering ourselves economically, because that's the thing we've lost in the last 40 years. We've been chasing integration and getting good jobs, but we have not been taught to create jobs and create industries that we own and control. So that's the most important thing to me.
One of the things that I noticed early on in this documentary, that you made a point to make it known that, no, I don't have a problem with all white people. It's just the white supremacy. Can you expound upon that?
Yeah. I wanted to make a point to reference the real problem, which is white supremacy, because a lot of people who's in the dominant society, they say, well, I'm white and I'm not racist. Well, we're not talking about you. Neely Fuller said we got 3 races of people. You got white, non-white, and white supremacists. See, we get caught up on all of these other races, and all of them, if they're not classified as white, they're dominated by the white supremacists. Now, all people are not white supremacists, but the white supremacists are the most powerful people because we live in a system of white supremacy. And in a system of white supremacy, somebody has to be the racist.
Now, when you talk about hiding racist beliefs behind religion, break that down, because, I mean, religion for the longest has been the backbone of our community.
Yeah.
And to find out that the religion that has really been supporting you the whole time and getting you through, that we've been kumbayaing with, has also been there to enslave us at the same time. You know, I think that's a shocker to a lot of people that watch these documentaries that had no clue about the history of religion as it is today.
Absolutely. See, the thing is, man, African people, we've always been a spiritual people. We've always connected with our ancestors. We've always given reverence to our ancestors. So when the white supremacists came into Africa, they played on that. See, they know how to disguise their motives very well. So they saw that we were spiritual. Then they start pretending to be spiritual. See, the thing is, we've always practiced the principles of Christianity because it's just a warmed over version of ancient Egyptian religion. In Hidden Colors 4, we show you Egyptian texts that's almost parallel to stuff in the Bible that they've taken from the Bible, taken from the Egyptian text and then flipped and made it into the Bible. So we've always lived by that. We've always lived by those principles. The white supremacists pretend to live by that. So that's the thing. We think that Christianity and all of these other religions are white religions. No, they're not. The white supremacists are pretending to practice these religions. And they keep playing us, and their only religion is white supremacy. That's why we named the film The Religion of White Supremacy.
Now, when it comes to rewriting history, with the history being written as it is right now, how the hell did you all go about uncovering the truth?
Man, that's the thing, man. It. A lot of black folks will say to me, man, I got to go show my white friends this.
Yeah.
And I tell them, dude, white people already know this stuff. They know this. Dude, don't let them fool you. Yeah. They know all of our history. They know what parts of Africa we came from because they went to go to different parts of Africa, specific parts to get us for specific reasons. They knew that certain black folks or Africans on the part of West Africa knew how to cultivate rice. So they would get them to take them to the South Carolinas and places like that. They knew which ones were more suited for labor, hard labor, breeding. So they knew exactly where we were and they knew our history. And they were the ones who hid it. So when we start getting the research for the film, we start going to these libraries. And I mean, this stuff is buried in these libraries. Like you go to the museum in France, there's a museum called the Louvre.
Yeah.
They got all that Egyptian stuff on the basement, on the bottom floor. You go down there, you see all of these black images of ancient Egyptians and ancient Africans, and they keep it hidden literally in these museums. But we don't travel enough to see this stuff. See, there was a brother named J.A. Rogers. He wrote books in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. This brother, his books are still very relevant to this day. He was a train porter, and he also was an ambassador to some of the Negro newspapers at the time. So he was able to travel. He was one of the few black folks who got to travel. Again, it was very rare for brothers to travel and get that information because understand, back in the Jim Crow era, black folks didn't have access to libraries and certain information as it was.
Exactly.
So some of the black people who did get to travel or got to work as porters, and we don't understand the importance of porters back then. A lot of those black porters, man, were very, very financially stable because they would get around white people and they would start ear hustling. So they would learn tax game, they would learn real estate game, they would learn game about the stocks. And, you know, they didn't pay attention to black folks at the time. So they would just talk freely. Right. Now it's different. Black folks, you go around a bunch of white people, they'll be quiet when we walk in the room. They don't want us to ear hustle no more.
Exactly.
But the porters back then would learn a lot of game from those guys and learn where the libraries were. And we got to go back to ear hustling.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the white supremacists, they know stuff. I always tell people, we live in a system of white supremacy, so if you want to learn white supremacy, go around white supremacists and start ear hustling. See, we go around the white supremacists and we start trying to flex and we want to tell them all about our history. I never do that because I know they already know. When I get around the white supremacists, I'm all ears. Or suspected white supremacists. Or any white person. When I'm around them, I'm chopping up game and just learning to see what I can scoop up from them because they have information that they hide from us all the time.
What is some of the information that you done picked up ear hustling out here in these streets?
Dude, I was in I was doing a television show in L.A. and one of the producers, I was riding with him to the set, and he was just casually talking about like his uncle bought a trailer in Malibu, then they built a house around it so they can get away from paying the taxes. I'm like, what? I'm trying to what? He's just casually telling me some game, some like under the table
loopholes.
Off the book, some loophole game. The white supremacists, they got loopholes out the yang, dude. So whenever I'm around them and I can get some of that loophole game that they don't tell us, I'm all ears with it, man.
Now, what do you think about germ warfare?
Oh man, germ warfare.
Because when they break it down to the patents and stuff like that, that kind of ticks everybody off. It's like, okay, when you have a patent for this disease, that means you got to have a cure also.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Especially with that Ebola, man, with the Ebola. And we talked about that in Hidden Colors 4, man. You know, the Ebola is attacking all of these black folks, and the few white people who got it, they just happen to have a cure, but they only had that much left. And they want to sell us on this BS.
Yeah.
You dig? And, you know, the CDC is right down here, by the way. And there was a big thing going on with the CDC because the CDC got found out. Somebody was a whistleblower and said that some of those shots that they were giving for vaccination was giving black children autism. And they kept that under the rug. And Robert De Niro, because, you know, his children are black. You know, he has the jungle fever. And one of his kids has autism. And he said it's from those shots. So we got to be very careful about what's happening. This is why when we do Hidden Colors 5, because that's definitely coming, I'm going to get really, really deep into the natural medicine. We haven't really gotten deep on that in all the other ones yet.
You touched on it a little bit on 4.
Oh, yeah,
you touched on it.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I want to go deep into the natural medicine. I want to get people like Dr. Sebi, people like that. My man Tahuti Maad Ra out in Los Angeles. Exactly. I'm going to get Layla Africa back because he's very good on that. So that's something that we really got to get into, our nutrition.
What did you think about that when you were over there in Africa and you discovered that they had cure for cancers and stuff just through herbs and things like that?
Man, yeah, dude, I was over in Tanzania. I was over Tanzania, and you know, that's my first time going to that part of Africa. So I'm thinking about, you know, people with malaria, and I'm like, hey man, where are the kids with malaria so I can go, you know, hug them or something. Where are the malaria people? You know, because when you think of Africa, you think of little sickly people. I'm looking at people all healthy and strong, and they looked at me like I was a damn fool. He's like, ain't nobody got no malaria. He's like, brother, there's a tree right there. We can go crush the leaves, make a tea. We drink that. The malaria's gone in 3 days, brother. I'm like, wow.
What do you think about the presentation of Africa to African Americans?
Yo, see, we believe everything that the white supremacists tell us. They tell us that Africa is Tarzan. They got a new Tarzan movie out now, by the way. So everybody's walking around in grass thongs and naked and ashy and living in huts. And what's interesting about that, white people go over there living it up. Yeah. Man, they go over there vacationing, partying up. Every time I go to Africa, man, it's a plane full of white people over there. They got us scared to go, and they over there setting it off. Africa's beautiful, man. South Africa's beautiful. Yeah. Go to Zanzibar. Beautiful island right off the coast of Tanzania. It's beautiful over there, man. And the brothers and sisters are so open to us vibing with them and connecting with them.
How do they treat you as an American going over there?
Man, they love us over there. There's a myth that Africans don't like African Americans. Yeah. That myth comes from African immigrants coming over here and the white supremacists telling them, don't hook up with those black folks now. Hey. Because, you know, whenever we talk about injustices, they always tell black people, hey, well, you don't like it, just go back to Africa. But every time we try to hook up, they sabotage it. Hey. Go back to Marcus Garvey. When we tried to hook up with Africa with Garvey, the FBI sabotaged that. Specifically, they sent in agents on Garvey. Back in the 70s, the Big New Brzezinski, they put out a paper saying we do not want Africans and African Americans hooking up at all. Because, you know, there were a lot of African revolutions over there in the 60s and 70s, so people were fighting for their independence. Mugabe and all those people getting those white supremacists up out of there. So they didn't want us hooking up with that. When they did that rumble in the jungle with Ali and Don King, they didn't want that to happen. Yeah. But Muhammad Ali, and they wanted to go over there and link up with the people. That's why Muhammad Ali is a big icon. Right. That brother was on that Pan-African thing all the way back then. And even in the 90s, when Gaddafi, he was getting independence as far as economics. He's trying to get everybody on the gold standard over there. He was trying to hook up with African Americans through Minister Farrakhan. Gaddafi was going to give Minister Farrakhan $1 billion to help African Americans over here. It was Bill Clinton that came in and stopped that. You understand? So every time we try to link up with Africa, they throw a wrench in that. Yeah. So it's up to us to take that initiative and stop listening to what they tell us and realize that our brothers and sisters over there are very open to us. Mugabe, he's another one who said, hey, I want to hook up with African Americans. See, the thing is, Mugabe has taken control of his resources. He said, I'm getting these diamond mines back. Y'all not going to come over here and rape our resources and then leave us broke. We're taking control of everything. But then the white supremacists put trade sanctions on him and start talking about humanitarian issues, and he's a tyrant. But before him, Ian Smith, who was the prime minister of Rhodesia, that's what Zimbabwe was before it was Zimbabwe. I mean, that was an apartheid state. They were murdering and slaughtering the Africans over there, but they never said anything about humanitarian issues then. So we got to stop listening to them and start listening to each other.
When it comes to resilience, one thing that you will notice about melanoid people is that they are extremely resilient.
Yes, indeed.
Where does that come from?
Man, that we are the original people on the planet, man. Mm. We are the oldest people on this planet. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Mm. So everybody, they are our children. Mm. So sometimes when our children get a little unruly, you know, we just kind of look at them. It's just like sometimes you look at the Maury Povich show and they got the little wayward teen yelling at the mom and the mom is sitting there shaking her head. I don't know what to do with them, Maury. Mm-hmm. That's us with the white supremacists. We don't know what to do with our badass kids. You dig? So we just kind of let them act out because, see, we're not in survival mode. We've been here. See, the white supremacists, they're in survival mode, and we've been here. That's why when we did the first couple of Hidden Colors, I wanted to show people that African people were all over the planet before everybody. True. You go to the Polynesian Islands, we showed you African people in Asia. I've been there with them. I've been in their homes. I've been in people in Asia look like this room. The oldest people there in Polynesia. You go to Hawaii now, there's people in Hawaii look like us in this room, man. They don't show you that on television because they always want to make us feel like a global minority. So when you go to other countries, they'll show you the brochures of the whitest looking people, but then you go there and it's like a damn Black Lives Matter rally.
Now, when you talk about that and what we see, I mean, just the pictures of Egypt.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that in the documentary also where you all touched on that. And, you know, that's one thing that's kind of always angered me because when you talk about Egyptians and you talk about our history and ancient history over there, you expect to see black people. Yeah. But when you don't see any black people at all except for the slaves over there too, that could be a little discouraging. Why is that? And tell me, how do you think that's affected us as a people also?
Well, thankfully, we are waking up because they've been Hollywood, and when I say they, I mean Hollywood, they've been going out of their way because they can feel an awakening with us. Whenever we make a move on a mass level, the white supremacists, they know how to react on a mass level. So they see us waking up. They see us becoming more conscious as a group. They see us putting some of that ratchetness away and going back to looking into our history. So when they start doing these movies, they start putting white faces in there deliberately. They're putting hundreds of millions of dollars in movies like Gods of Ridiculous.
I couldn't force myself to go and see it. I just couldn't do it.
Because we put that information out there. Yep. We got it out there on a grand scale.
Exactly.
So if you put a blatant lie on the screen, it becomes a complete joke. Yep. And that Gods of Egypt movie flopped. And this is why they're coming up with new TV channels. History Channel is constantly pushing white history or revisionist history. They don't like to talk about African history at all. They act like African people were just in mud huts for the last 10,000 years.
And
still are. Until some white people came and brought us over here and saved us, because that's the narrative. They act like they did us a favor.
And they had to beat us to save us.
Exactly. So that's why it's so important for us to tell our story. The History Channel would never talk about Mansa Musa, who was the richest man in recorded history. They don't tell you this. This man had the equivalent of like $4 trillion in gold in the 1300s. Nobody has amassed that much wealth ever in history. They don't talk about these, the Timbuktu University, which is one of the biggest universities in the world during the Middle Ages when Europe was starving. They don't like to talk about the Moors, African men who went up into Europe and literally saved them from the Black Plague. The Europeans were dying. They were dying of disease and sickness because they were closed in. There are no resources in Europe. If we're going to just talk, let's just talk geography. Ain't no resources up there. That's why they had to get out of there and get spices and stuff to season them potatoes and all that nasty stuff that was up there. I'm just talking geography and agriculture. That's it.
Now, the awakening from Hidden Colors 1 to Hidden Colors 4.
Yeah.
Tell me about that journey, because when you came out there with 1, it was a cult situation.
Yeah.
Now, it's more so along the lines of mass media with it.
Yeah.
Last year when we talked, you know, it was a little stressful. This year, it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that transition, going from saying, you know what, I got an idea of writing down Black history and disseminating that out to the people. And was it accepted off top when you came with it?
Yeah, when we did the film, the idea, I was on my Ustream show just talking to my Ustream listeners, and we were trying to counter all of the negative movies that were coming out about black folks, like The Blind Side and The Help and all that. And we kept saying, well, how can we get Hollywood to do better movies? And I said, well, look, they ain't going to do it. They're going out of their way to show us in a negative light. So I said, wait a minute, look, we got money. I mean, I can put together a documentary. You know, I know some stuff about film work. And then we did the Kickstarter thing. I told people, look, we'll raise a couple of dollars on Kickstarter, then I'll match that with my own paper.
Yeah.
And first, the movie was going to be just me talking about history. I was going to do something like what John Henry Clark did. He did a documentary with Wesley Snipes called A Great and Mighty Walk, but it was really about an autobiography about him. But it was a great film. He did it in like 96. So I said, let me do this. Let me one-up it. Let me do it better. Instead of just me, let me get all the people that I studied and loved. The first person I called was my mentor, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She was on. Then I called brother Phil Valentine.
Yeah.
Bad brother. Phil Valentine is an OG. This brother, I've seen Phil do like 10-hour lectures. I mean, this brother's an encyclopedia. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. This brother's done 10-hour lectures nonstop. Brother Kaba, oh man, so many great folks. Shahrazad Ali. And we did Hidden Colors, man. I didn't know how the film was going to be accepted at all. So I'm in a theater in L.A., with a hat on, kind of low key, because if this is whack, I'm gonna get the hell up out this spot. And the thing is, it was very long, and my fear was, okay, this is long. Are people gonna get bored? That was my biggest fear. But when the movie was screened and the movie went off, people sat in the theater, they applauded, and then they didn't want to leave. People just sat there in the theater almost in shock. And after the movie was over, people just wanted to stand around and talk. They almost had to be debriefed. Yeah. So I said, okay, we got something. Exactly. And even now, when we screen the Hidden Colors films, people have to be debriefed. They have to talk about their experiences. They have to get it out because it blows their mind. I was in Amsterdam. I was doing a lecture in Amsterdam, and this is when Hidden Colors 3 came out. And I met a brother from Ethiopia. He was living in Amsterdam. He was like, hey, Tariq, man, you know, I watch your films and, you know, I'm epileptic. And I'm like, well, why is he telling me his medical history? He said, no, just film me. He was like, man, I was watching Hidden Colors and I was one of those people who thought that white people were just so great and all that. And they were my gods almost. And he said, I watched Hidden Colors and every time I would watch it and put it in the DVD player, I would watch it and I would just start having seizures because the information was so overwhelming to me. And every time I played it, I had to stop watching it after a while because I just kept getting seizures because it was overwhelming me that much. And that's how heavy the information is when you don't have it. Yeah. And when you get it thrown on you and you become awakened like that so fast, it can be overwhelming.
Now, by you creating your own platform now, how has Hollywood reacted to this? Because, I mean, you're number one.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Not number two, not in the top 10, top 5, you're number one.
Yeah.
So when they see you coming with that, have they reached out to you to try to get in on the power for any kind of distribution and promotion? Or is this something that you plan on keeping to yourself?
I'm planning on keeping it to myself. And that's the thing with Hollywood. What's interesting, with all of because I do relationship books, so they would have me on every show for my relationship book. But Hollywood, they don't like me talking about this, because they go out of their way to not have this information. So the mainstream media, they try to act like it doesn't exist. Now, I was on CNN last week, and they had to call me because, you know.
It got real last week.
It got real.
Yeah.
All this stuff going on. So they said, okay, let's get him on up here. And I had to give him that work when I went up there.
And I feel you on that. I mean, let's just go ahead and get straight to it. What's going on right now?
Yeah.
I mean, the police. What makes me angry is because the last time we talked, we were just talking about Walter Scott running for his life and being shot in the back.
Yeah, and that cop is out on bail, by the way. He's out on bail.
So with what's going on right now, you've been seeing some retaliation going on.
Yeah.
And it's gotten real ugly. You know, what are your thoughts on where the country is right now?
Well, the country is right now, man, we are going to have to look at the leadership in the country. The white supremacists, they are in attack mode because they know that Barack Obama is not going to do anything for us. They know that. They know that he's not going to say anything. Understand, whenever black people have been disenfranchised or attacked in this country, there always has to be a call from the top. Even during the 1960s, when we had black folks getting those dogs sicked on us and all that, Kennedy had to say something and say, hey, let me get the federal troops down there to walk these kids to school armed if I have to, so you don't throw bricks at babies. Come on.
Exactly.
Obama ain't even doing that. When Obama comes out, he's like, well, things are bad and hopefully they'll get better and Blue Lives Matter. It's that type of stuff. And we're afraid to call Obama out because we've supported him. We were happy he was the first black president. And now we're afraid to say, hey, brother, you're going to have to throw us a bone. Don't throw us in the whole pot with everybody else. Oh, all lives matter. No, brother, we're getting executed out here. Throw us a bone, an executive order, put some federal troops down, punish these race soldiers. And that's what we have to start using, the term race soldier. I was using that on CNN. Boy, they were so mad at me because I was debating like this lady from Homeland Security and one of these retired cops who's one of these Blue Lives Matter activists. And they kept trying to frame the narrative. Well, our police, they do the best job they can. I said, well, look, the problem is the people out here executing us like this, these are not police. That's not police work. There's nothing in the police manual that says execute people. Nothing in the Constitution says it's okay to execute people. These are race soldiers pretending to be police because the FBI put out a study in 2006 saying that there are white supremacist groups infiltrating law enforcement, and nobody's done anything about that. So we have these white supremacist suspects in law enforcement for the sole purpose of harming us. They try to make it seem like, well, they just need better training. This has nothing to do with better training, and we got to stop letting them frame that narrative because when they say it's all about training, what that means is they want more money for cops to stop them from shooting us. And it ain't about them being trained. They know who not to shoot. They know not to shoot white folks. They know not to shoot white children. They know not to beat up white women. They know not to shoot white people in the back. They don't shoot armed white people in the back.
Charles Kinsey, did you see the video with him, the therapist, when he had his hands up? I mean, I don't think you could be in any more of a submissive position than laying down on your ground with your hands up in the air than that, okay? That's harmless. And he still managed to get shot, and he says that the officer tells him, I don't even know why I did it.
And when I was talking to those cops on CNN, they were trying to go with the lie that the police unions put out that he got shot by accident. And I kept asking them, and they would never answer me, how do you shoot a person 3 times by accident? Spilling a glass of milk is an accident.
Yeah.
If you spill milk 3 times in a row, that ain't no damn accident. You're deliberately trying to spill milk. You don't shoot nobody by accident 3 times and then accidentally handcuff them after you shoot them. Why would you aim at the autistic guy when somebody called up and said it was a suicide? Why would you aim at the autistic guy when the man is on the ground yelling, hey, I'm a social worker, he's autistic, that's a toy? They can't get their lie straight, but that's how white supremacy is. It's not about logic, it's about power. It's about I'm white and I say so.
Now, what can we do to change these things? Because, like, as it is right now with the election for president, nobody even really cares now. It's like, okay, Trump, we know Trump is going to do what he does.
Yeah.
Hillary, we don't know what she's planning on doing. And at this point right now, people are feeling like nobody in there is for us, okay?
Which is true.
You know.
And this is why I had a don't vote campaign. We shouldn't vote for neither one of them because they will not offer to do anything for us specifically. When we start talking about these race soldiers killing us, they're not giving no real solutions. They're talking about we just need to come together and pray. They're giving us kumbaya talk. When it comes to us getting some economic reparations or any kind of allocations or anything, they start talking in circles. Well, we're going to create jobs for minorities. We got to watch these little code words they use. Minority is a trick word. Minority means anybody. It's white minorities. A white Puerto Rican is a minority. An Asian is a minority. A white Asian is a minority. A white person with 3/5 Native American is a minority. White women are minorities. Gay white men are minorities. So that's a trick bag they use on us. If they're not going to commit to doing something specifically for black folks, we don't vote, period. We hold our vote and use that as leverage for next time. So next time they come around, we can say this is what we want in exchange for the vote.
Now, what about those that say that if we don't vote, this is what you get?
No, we going to get it anyway. That's the thing. We get it anyway. See, we're the only people, black folks, we only vote out of tradition and fear. We vote because my grandmama voted. We vote because my great-great-granddaddy fought for the right to vote. It's a tradition thing. We got to let go of doing things just for tradition. or we'll vote out of fear. Man, we got to vote so Trump won't win, as if Hillary ain't Trump in a damn skirt. Hillary and Trump are the same thing, man. We don't get that.
Exactly. So now when we talk about solutions, we got group economics. Group economics.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think about the money, the black exodus or the black dollar from the white banks to the black?
That's a beautiful thing. We're on the right path because that's what Garvey wanted to do. Garvey was all about black banks, building these black banks up. So we're on the right path as far as that. We got to start getting our money into these black banks so that we can start establishing black businesses. We're going to have to get some of these other businesses out of town. I was in Milwaukee. There was an Arab guy at a gas station who shot at some teens. They started boycotting that gas station, and that man had to lower his prices to gas for like 5 cents a gallon to get people to come back in that store, which is good. I told them up in Milwaukee, y'all should let him close all the way down. That's how we got to be. We got to circle our wagons. We're all we got. We're like CMB right now. We're going to have to fund these black banks. We're going to start getting the money that we work at these jobs to start creating our own businesses on the side until we can go into them full time. We're going to have to start creating our African-centered schools. And this is something that I do. I like to fund black schools all the time. I always make donations to all the black schools I can find around the country. We're going to have to start doing what the Panthers did with the free food program. We're going to have to start feeding our people.
Exactly.
They started the free lunch program because of the Panthers. They weren't feeding kids in school before the Panthers were doing it. They got that from them. So we got to start being the forerunners in some of these things and going back to what we used to do and just look out for our community on our own. The thing is, the media, this is why they push a lot of interracial relationships lately. And I don't knock interracial relationships, but there's a reason why they push that very heavy, because that's a pacifying thing for black folks. That makes black people think that they're integrated because you can have interracial sex, because that's all integration means. Black and white people have always lived next to each other. Hell, in the plantation, we live right in the house and in the back.
Yeah.
So what do they mean by integration? We've always lived behind or around or across the tracks from white people. We've always went to their stores. So integration basically in this context means just interracial sex. And we got to stop letting that pacify us, because when white folks have sex with you, don't think that they're not being white supremacists when they get out that bed.
Now, another thing that I got to say, when it comes to us as a people, how do we break the slave mentality to get us to work together? Because one thing that I do see, now, it started with the migration of the money to the banks, and that was a beautiful thing. Now what I need for the banks to do is to go ahead and trickle that money right on back out.
Yeah.
But now I do understand that we need to have, there's protocols to the situation.
Yeah.
We do need to have good credit and all this other stuff. But can we trust the banks to provide us with the education that we need? Because one of my main concerns is of the poor. You see what I'm saying? The people that don't have the money, don't have the resources at all, don't have the connection to the education, and all they know is that they took their last $100 and put it in that bank hoping that something was going to change. Can we get us to come together internally to work out a better future?
And that's why we have to get people who are trustworthy to put our money behind. Because this is the thing. We got to be very honest, man. There's a lot of folks who will throw on the kente cloth and be like, hey, my brother, I got a great idea, brother. Give me like $100,000 in them dollars, and I'm going to build me a little bus for kids, and I'm going to teach them. And then you give somebody $100,000, and all of a sudden he's at the damn strip club tricking it off. We got too much of that. So if you get that money, do what you're supposed to do with the money. So we gotta vet people. We gotta see what they've done in the past. See, that's why people trusted me with the money to get when I raised money for Hidden Colors, because they seen what I've done in the past.
With the product.
Right, I came with the product heavy, so they know I'm going to deliver. So you got a lot of folks out here making promises about building this and building that, and then when they get the money, they act funny style. So we got to start getting people who have a background of doing stuff on a grassroots level already. We got to see what they've done, and then we can get behind that.
Now, after the money, I mean, it comes to code of conduct.
Yeah.
Are these codes written down anywhere so we can circulate these things so people can read them and become educated on that?
Man, it can be passed down orally. Like, there's a code of conduct with the white supremacists. They got a code of conduct, and they learn it through osmosis. They just know. You go around the average white supremacists, man, and start talking about racism. Their code is denial. All of them will be on the same page of denial. Like, what racism? There's no racism. There's a black president. What racism? There's 2 black people work at my company. What racism? So the denial is a code for them, and they don't have to write it down. They know how to get on the denial code because that's going to maintain their system. We got to start doing things that's going to empower us and maintain that system of empowerment. And that's where we got to have money. We got to have money to do this because we got so many sellouts because the white supremacists, they pay for those. So we're going to have to start creating an economic base so we don't have to jump on the coon train all the time.
Yeah. All right, more us.
Yeah.
Tell me about that right there, man, the social networking aspect.
Man, I got the social networking app, man. We're going to start doing beta testing at the end of August. It's a social media site. It's going to be rivaling Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Going to be very simple, but it's going to be effective, and the purpose of it is for black empowerment. It's going to be specifically for us. Black folks, we make social networking. We make social media. Instagram, we make them billions of dollars with all of the content that we put up there. Facebook now is Fedbook. Facebook will let black folks twerk, fight, cuss, do whatever, but when you start talking about economic building, you start talking about consciousness, your page gets banned. I know so many people whose pages are banned. My page is banned right now for like 30 days. I got backup pages on there, but I talk to people the minute they start talking about learning, building, educating black history, they find reasons to ban their page. Our brother, Minister Farrakhan, they're censoring his page on Facebook. They're taking down videos that he posts up. But they will let white supremacists run amok on Facebook. They'll let them call you all types of names in the book and won't do anything about it. Facebook even y'all remember, they let that picture of Trayvon Martin circulate when he was dead. It was a dead picture of that kid, and they let it circulate around, and they wouldn't take it down for a long time. So we know where Facebook is. That's why we got to have our own social media, and we got to support it to the fullest.
Now, when do you expect to be launching that thing?
We're going to launch it at the end of August.
Okay.
Yeah, so Morris, and I want everybody, y'all got to support that thing heavy.
Now, the Moorish Kingdom, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because, see, not only did you come with the social media aspect, you come with the video game also.
Called Moorish Kingdom. It's the first game, the video game, to ever touch on the Moors. So there's a lot of black characters fighting. It's a medieval fantasy game. It's available on iTunes, and it's available on Google, and it's called Moorish Kingdom. You go to moorishkingdom.com. So we're doing this.
That's right.
Yeah, when I say we're going to do something, we're going to do it.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
The lectures, how's that been going?
It's going good, man. The tour is going phenomenal right now, man. And my last tour date is going to be August 6th in Phoenix. I'm going to be out here in Atlanta this Thursday. People can get their tickets at TariqLive.com. And that's why I've been touring for the last couple of months. I'm going to chill out on the tours because I want to focus on more us. I want to really get that off the ground. And plus, I got to do some other movies. I got some other scripted movies that I'm going to do later on this year. I might come back down here to Atlanta or Detroit to film this new movie that we got. So we're doing it.
Well, don't just say movie. What you doing over there, Tariq? What's that movie about, man?
Man, this is going to be like a crime thriller. We did a horror movie down here in Atlanta. We did a movie called The Eugenist. That's available on iTunes. That does very good around Halloween. And the international market really likes that film. So that's on iTunes. So we're doing a lot of stuff, man.
Okay. Now, what made you decide to spread it out from the documentaries and say, you know what, let me go ahead and get to the entertaining part of it?
Yeah, because I like to be diverse, man. We got a full-fledged film production company. So, we got to be diverse to stay in the game. And, the Hidden Colors series, man, that was a juggernaut, man. That thing just took off, and a lot of folks want us to just focus on that. And I do want to focus more on documentaries. Another thing I want to work on, I want to do a documentary about the Haitian Revolution. The whole documentary.
You got to.
We got to tell that story, man. Exactly. We got to tell that story.
Because nobody really knows that story.
They really don't know.
We finally getting the Nat Turner story.
Yeah.
Okay, we finally getting that.
Yeah.
But when you get that Haitian rebellion, that's a powerful journey and story in itself right there. When people find that out, because, they want us to believe that we were passive and we enjoyed being slaves for the most part.
Exactly.
But when you find out that black people were never going for it the whole time, that kind of changes your psyche as it is today, too.
Absolutely. And for that story, people don't know that that's the first time in history a slave population rose up and beat the oppressor class. That's never been done in history. That's why in the mainstream, they don't like to talk about the Haitian Revolution at all. They just make it seem like Haitians were about voodoo and demonic chicken worship and all that stuff. And we got to set that record straight.
How do you feel about the state of Haiti as it is right now, though?
the thing is, unfortunately, they've been punishing Haiti for what they did. Yeah. See, that's how white supremacists is. See, Haiti, unfortunately, when they got their independence, they didn't have any allies to trade with internationally. So they've went out of their way to punish Haiti because they don't want nothing like that to happen again. That's why we got to get that story out to let people know what the deal is.
Already. Hidden Colors 4, how can they get that thing?
Man, hiddencolorsfilm.com. You go to amazon.com. But get your authentic copies. Don't get no damn bootleg Hidden Colors copy with a picture of Jermaine Dupri on the front, knowing it ain't me. Shout out to JD. Y'all know when it's a bootleg. I hate when folks act like they don't know it's a bootleg.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know it's a damn bootleg. And got Tyler Perry on the front of it. Yeah, it's not no damn real copy.
I feel you. And now, 5, I hate to just jump so far ahead with that, but I mean, go ahead and give me a taste of what you're thinking about for 5.
I got a brainstorm. The nutrition thing, that's one. And for 5, I got to get Minister Farrakhan in 5.
Oh man,
yeah, I wanted to get him in 4. I was really trying hard to get him in 4, but I really want to get the minister. I really want to break some game down with the minister, man, and I want to get some more rappers in it. I got a lot of rapper friends that I put in it. Killer Mike was phenomenal in this. Man.
He's that guy.
Killer Mike is that dude.
Come on,
man. Killer Mike was phenomenal. We filmed that part up at the Stankonia Studios, and I called me a little contact. They call it Stankonia for a reason. Shout out to Big Boy.
Already. Well, Tariq, man, appreciate you coming through this thing, brother.
Man, anytime, man. Anytime, brother.
You already know what it is. Be High. It's Hot 107.9, man. Let's go.